Alright, so I got the updated roof liner printed, and I went ahead and sanded out the gouges, or filled and sanded those out. And yeah, you never even know I did that. Um, That's the first time I've ever tried to fill a flaw like that with that epoxy, and that actually worked out pretty well. Basically, I just taped like a dam and just blotted that epoxy on the edge there, and then once it's cured, you don't want to be going this way. You want to take it off that way. Get it knocked down first before you start going in the cross direction. So you can see it's knocking that down pretty quick. Right, so I'm going to be able to reshape them doors. So yeah, don't be afraid to cut these doors out, because if you make a boo-boo, it's really not that big of a deal. It's quite easily fixable, and in fact, I'm probably gonna run a little bead on the edge, on all the edges of the doors, just to fill the saw marks, and then come back, because you don't want to take those highs down to the lows. It's better to bring them lows to the ups. You know, it's better to be too big than it is to be too small, because you can always remove material later. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is install the roof liner. Once that's installed, I'm going to start fitting the floor pan in the cab. So what we're going to have to do there is, you notice these two pieces coming off the front pillars. We're going to have to blend them to fit in to the cab windshield pillar. And if you notice, there's like a notch right here, so this actually should fit in there pretty good, but because that pillar is interfering with the windshield pillar on the body, we're gonna have to shape that. And basically, this is all you got to do. Just take off a little bit and try to fit it. See where we got to go, and then once you got this all fitted, then we're gonna come back, tape some things off, and then we're gonna solid epoxy weld this into place. And then, but before we do that, after we do this, and then we get this fitted, the next step will be to transfer these holes to the firewall on here. So that is the plan for this phase of the build. Oh yeah, and then we got the back panel we'll be gluing on. I think I'm gonna do this all in like one operation, and before we install this, we're gonna want to remove these and just take a pair of side cuts, just kind of trim away. Right. And then these screw bosses, we may want to trim them out too. I think I'm gonna wait until I glue this in, because I could get in there with a pair of side cuts and snip them off later. rather not risk breaking that off. You know, and we're going to be coming in here and filling these seams and smoothing that all out later on anyway. So, alright, so fitting this guy. So I'm going to set this stuff aside for now. This needs to go in the garbage. Set that aside. Oh, and if you noticed, alright, so there's something else. I got some Lexan. You buy this in sheets on Amazon, sort of like buying paper, printer paper. It comes in a big pack. So yeah, you buy this one time, it's pretty much going to be a lifetime supply unless you get into molding bodies and stuff with it. But I just used a paper shear to cut off a strip of this, and then I put tape on both sides to give it a little extra thickness, so that when you put your glass in for real, you'll have room to fit it behind here. So what we're gonna do is basically clamp that into place like so, and then you'll have room for your glass. All right. So yeah, first thing you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to sand this all up, you know, clean it up the best you can, and then right here on the front corners, you're gonna want to knock this radius down, because it was a little hard in CAD to get it to cooperate and knock that down. So you're gonna want to just do a little bit of fitting on this as well, and then when this is all clamped in there, it should be about like so. Don't worry about that because we're gonna fill that later. You may want to actually put a flat in here, because it kind of just goes off to a point, and you're not going to want that. And then, you know, something to note is when you have this in there, I'm going to go ahead and knock this corner down real quick. Now I have 3D scanners, but making these parts without the actual CAD model of this body, it's nearly impossible. And a scan isn't going to be 100% accurate, but it will get you close. But scanning a body is pretty difficult. I might try again and get the spray, the scanning spray, because I did try to scan this with my Ferret Pro, and it did not like it. It kept losing tracking. So let's see what we got. And then you can fine tune. Once we get this all in there, we can fine tune this. But it is best if you can get it to fit without having to mod it. That looks pretty good. This side needs a little attention. It would help if this was actually right. If you actually look at this, this actually goes upwards towards the front. It's not actually even, and that's in the RC4WD drive model. Alright, so I'm going to let that sit for about an hour, and then we'll come back and then we'll start fitting the floorboard. Alright, so the liner is installed, glued in. So now I'm going to start working on shaping these upright pillars to match the windshield pillars. So yeah, basically what I'm going to have to do. Now if you break these off, no big deal. I mean, it is kind of fragile here. So you want to be pretty careful. But if you break it, it's not the end of the world. You just glue them back on. I mean, you don't have to file. You could use your rotary tool if you wanted to. So, and then, you know, this little pocket here, you might want to clean them up or that up so it'll fit in there. It's a pretty tight fit. But you can see I'm hitting up there yet, and then I got a gap here. Basically, when this is sitting in there right, this will be closed. So I got quite a ways to go. In fact, I think I am gonna bust out the rotary. This drill, I have had set up for drilling the dash mounting holes, but set that aside for now, and once we get this fitted, then we'll move on to that step. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So I'll do a little post-processing here later. Try to blend that in there. Alright, so the next step is going to be to screw this to the firewall and then transfer those holes. Alright. So we'll let that set up. And then we'll move on to the back. Here once that's cured. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and glue in the back panel while this is drying. I'll glue this in and they can dry together. And then we'll be ready to glue the back in. Alright, so glue isn't fully cured, but it's cured enough, I think, to where I can work on it. So, yeah, a little gooey back here yet. I'm just gonna mop some of that up. So, it's just excess anyway. And we'll be sanding that off later. So basically all we got to do now is connect the cab joints here on the cab corners, and then we'll glue in the rockers that we cut off the doors. So break out the welder, spot welder again. Brush. These are toast. Grab a new one and just kind of spread this axis out. And then what I'll do is use some tape to kind of hold it in place. And then I'll go inside here. So that looks pretty good. And these little gaps we're going to be filling later. So yeah, I think at this point I'm going to let it sit for a couple hours and try not to mess with it anymore. toast. So yeah, I'm gonna let this sit, and then we'll come back, glue the rockers on. I'm gonna have to do some prep work. This boss here will need to be removed. So I guess I can let that sit aside, and I can prep these. So that's the bottom edge. Now one thing I'm going to do is kind of roll the ends over on both ends. And I should probably roll that too, but I could probably do that afterwards. After it's gnarly. It'll probably be easier. Try to get all the burrs off of it. I'm going to try to get that straight. But you don't have to worry too much about the saw marks, because we are going to run a bead of the epoxy in here. That'll smooth it over, but so those are ready. I guess at this point they're pretty much the same, and so I don't think it matters which side one goes on. Alright, so we're going to let this guy cure. And then we'll come back and do some more.